at 17.
That was Janice Ian's At 17 single, which would win her a Grammy and cement her career as singer-songwriting legend and pave the way for the next 50 years as one of the most influential and trailblazing women in music.
What an intro there alone.
There you go.
Now, Janice has returned to Dublin to look back at her life and career, and she joins us now. Please welcome Janice to the 6 o'clock show. Yes.
I think after that I can just leave. Is that all right?
Yes. I mean, it's pretty
How do you live
strong
up to
opening.
that?
You could just stand there in silence.
I will sit here in silence and dwell on my marvellousness.
We have to start by congratulating you on your Lifetime Achievement Award from
Thank you.
Tradfest.
Thank you.
I mean, it's the start of 2024. You must be feeling pretty special already with that.
I'm actually feeling pretty old, but it was amazing. We got to get the awards. Ralph McTell and I this morning in Dublin Castle Chapel.
Right.
It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen, although very cold. You think about royalty in those days, and there's no heat, and there's no luz, there's no nothing, and they sit on their knees for hours and hours, and it's just really sad.
What was running through your mind when you first heard the news about your Lifetime Achievement?
I was actually wondering why they weren't giving it to an Irish person, because I'm not Irish. But I am angling for a visa and a Euro passport if anybody has one to spare.
Yeah, you hear that, people? Polite request.
There you go. Now, you're in Dublin for your show, A Life Between the Lines. It's a very different show to the ones you've done before. Tell us a little bit about it.
So I got a virus and I got something called vocal scarring. So when I sing, I'm not sure what will come out of my mouth. Sometimes it's all right. Sometimes it's a bit frog-like. Sometimes it's a bit rhino-like.
Oh, good connection.
Thank you. It's all about the ensemble. So I met Aoife Scott, who's a wonderful singer and songwriter in her own right. And she had this great idea to present at the National Stadium where I was to end my touring career. She had this idea for me to choose 8 Irish artists. We wound up actually with Eric Bibb, who is not Irish, and his wife, and myself, who's not Irish. But people like Mary Black.
Yeah.
Who's coming in, and Wallace Bird, and all of these people. So I asked 8 people, would they do it? And they all said yes. So we're going to have a night of my songs being sung by these amazing artists. And I get to play with a lot of them. And I get to kind of stand there and go, wow, that was great.
What was the process like when you're told you could select only 8? Was that tough for you?
It was tough because there's so many really great, like there's people like Seamus and Crevo Flaherty who are really wonderful traditional Irish players, and that's a big thing in the States at the Swannanoa Gathering where I used to teach every year. So it was hard, but then again, you try to select them so that they'll all go together, since we'll all be singing at 17 together at the end, and then a song called Better Times Will Come at the end. So you want 8 people who will get along with each other, who are in interesting age range, and frankly, who are excited.
What's it like hearing those 8 individuals that you personally chose performing your music?
Well, I've only heard Aoife so far. She does a song called I Hear You Sing Again. And it's funny, as a songwriter, you know, when you learn not to have your emotions while you're singing, because it's your job to make them feel, not yourself. Because really, the audience doesn't care how I feel. They care how I make them feel.
It's true.
But when I heard Aoife doing it last night, it brought me to tears.
It's kind of like a bit of a surprise, you know.
Yes.
You know, the closer you get to the show, you're going to be hearing all of these new interpretations of the songs that you perform.
Yes. And one of the things they kept asking was, do you want me to do it like you did? And I kept going, please don't do it like I did. I already did that. Do it like you did. There's a wonderful singer named Tashine, who is, she was very worried because I gave her a hard song called Resist, and it's in 8 or 9 parts. And she said, do you want me to do it like you or put my own spin? And I said, oh, for God's sake, don't do it like me. I mean, you know, I'm in my 70s. You can't do that.
And also, we all interpret songs differently.
That's true.
We all hear the one song, but we all take something personal away from them.
Yeah, it's the great thing about songs as opposed to, say, a book that's been made into a movie.
Yeah.
Because with a song, you have your own idea of what the girl at 17 looks like, or the person in Jessie, and you get to keep that for yourself. So that becomes part of your heart.
Totally.
You mentioned the virus that you suffered and losing your voice. In regards to that, I suppose, how did you come to terms with losing something that was so personal and so important to you and your career?
So I haven't.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, I don't know how to, because I've been singing first since I can remember with my father, and then I learned to play guitar, and then I learned to write. So I don't know. I don't know where to put it still. It's been a year and 4 months, and I still don't know where to put it.
Has this show been cathartic for you in a way?
I hope it will be.
Yeah?
I hope I won't be miserable. I mean, we're sold out, you know, and that's amazing to me that I could come back to Ireland not able to sing, and people would come to hear the songs. That's really amazing as a songwriter.
Yeah.
But I don't think you ever come to terms with something like, well, maybe you come to terms, but you don't accept it. I'm not sure.
As a child, and when it comes to music, what reflections do you have on that and music? How did that impact your life growing up, the type of music you listened to?
That's all I ever wanted, was to do music. And I was lucky. I listened to everything. My mother loved jazz. My father loved classical. The babysitters all loved pop and rock and roll.
Yeah.
And then I discovered world music. Everybody in the family listened to folk music, or American folk music, which is quite different. And then I discovered traditional music because the folk songs came from that. So there was just this huge melange of different influences. I feel very lucky that I wasn't born into the age of radio in the United States right now, where it's a playlist of 25 songs and every station plays the same thing. And, you know, Bob's your uncle.
You were listening to almost like a body of art, you know, albums from start to finish. That's how it was.
Exactly.
We heard you were really determined to learn the piano. Can you tell us about that?
It's funny.
I don't remember it very well. I remember I was listening to Claire de Lune, and I was wondering where the sound came from, and I realized my father's hands were making those noises. So apparently I walked up to him and I said I needed to learn that. And he kind of laughed. I was 2.5, and he said, well, you have to be able to tell time, you have to be able to know your ABCs, and you have to count to 10. So I marched into the kitchen and informed my mother that I needed to learn all of that as quickly as possible because I had no time to waste.
At 2.5 years
Determined.
old. That is
Very
determined.
But listen,
determined is a good word.
You know, career in the industry, 50 years, that determination from such a young age is
That you
why...
keep getting up.
Right, and the Lifetime Achievement Award, but you need that determination.
Yeah.
You do. And that's why people like myself, when we're asked, oh, you know, should I go into it or should I not? We always say, if you have another choice, take it. Because you're either born to this or you're not. If you're not born to it, you'll never be happy about it.
You released your first single at just 14 years old. Did you ever think 50 years later, Lifetime Achievement, you'd still be in the industry and would win not 1 but 2 Grammy Awards? You're laughing when I say it, but
I'm laughing
I'm
because
talking facts here.
In my generation, we all thought we'd be dead in our 20s. I mean, it was the age of the atomic bomb.
Right.
You know, we had school drills where we had to get under desks and put our butts in the air, and they told us that would save us.
Yeah.
So I don't think any of us thought beyond our 20s.
Do you ever have that moment where you feel proud or go, you know what?
I felt proud today. This morning I
Okay.
felt proud.
So
I
you're
felt like,
giving yourself your flowers.
yes, giving
Yes.
myself my flowers. What a
Yes.
great phrase.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's, I mean, it's well deserved. But I feel like when you have such a long career, you're almost thinking about just keeping it going, and you don't pause.
It's when you're young and you have some strength, you know. If you get older, you go, okay, it's done. Thank you.
Yes.
No, I did pause this morning. It was quite amazing to me to be presented that. It was
that.
amazing.
You were coming up at the same time as so many other amazing artists, Jimi Hendrix, Bruce Springsteen. I know to be a fly on the wall during
yes.
that time, but I wonder, like, what was it like when you were starting out at that time, that era of music?
The
But the
cheeky
thing is-
smile that's giving it all away.
Yeah, you've
no
got
secrets, no
secrets.
secrets, no. But you know, you don't know that anybody's going to... I mean, who knew that Jimmy would be a legend or Janis Joplin would be a legend? You don't know. You're just all kind of scuffling along, trying to make a living, trying to get to the next gig, make sure that nobody loses your guitar. Yeah. So I remember I ran into Bruce Springsteen. Oh, he was on the cover of Time and Newsweek, 2 of the hugest magazines in America. We ran into each other on a corner, and we had known each other from recording in the same studio for a year. And he looked at me and he said, "You probably don't remember me." And I looked at him and I said, "Bruce, dude, I remember you. You're on the cover of every magazine in the world right now."
I'm like, quit the humble act.
That's it. But he wasn't. I mean, he genuinely meant it. You know?
Yeah.
There is going to be a screening of your documentary at
There is.
Tradfest. Are you feeling excited? Are you feeling nervous? Okay, nervous.
I haven't seen it.
Right.
So, you know, I'm just hoping that she did make me very tall and very blonde. I have my hopes.
It's probably a good thing that you haven't seen it, because there are going to be many surprises for you coming up in the next few weeks and months.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. The Irish Film Institute is sponsoring it.
Yeah.
And it's the first showing. It's being called a work in progress because it is a work in progress. It's not due to come out until next winter.
Okay.
So it'll be a big deal for me. And we're doing a question and answer after.
Oh, nice.
So that'll be fun.
Of course.
Yes.
Today was like a little rehearsal for that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you so much for joining us on
It's a
the
pleasure.
6 o'clock show, and congrats on the lifetime achievement.
Thank you very
and
much.
Good luck with Tradfest.
Thank you, Will.
Give it up for Janice-Ian, everybody. Janice will be playing to a sold-out crowd at the National Stadium on the 28th of January as part of Tradfest 2024. For more info on Tradfest, go to tradfest.com.